All right. Good afternoon, all, and thank you for joining us today for another one of our alumni engagement virtual series. We are really excited to be with a grad from the class of 2008. Joe, oh gosh, Joe, I already forget how to pronounce it.
Speziale.
Speziale. I wrote it down and
Yeah.
everything.
Very
Speziale,
Italian.
Joseph Speziale. It means special in Italian, which we
Mhm.
think he's pretty special. Not only is he a Manor graduate, but he has gone on to a wonderful career at Microsoft. And we're here to talk to him and learn about his Manor experience, but also how did he navigate his way through different positions at Microsoft. And he's coming to us from sunny Florida. So welcome, Joe. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
So can you start us off by telling us, how did you hear about Manor College and kind of what was your first introduction to the school way back when?
Yeah, so back in high school, I went to Carl Doherty, shout out Doherty, even though it doesn't exist anymore. But back at Doherty, I did a lot of tech classes and IT classes, and I knew that I was really passionate about computers and technology. And they had a program with Manor where basically, I think it was senior year, you were able to sort of go to classes at Manor, and it was an accelerated program for your 2-year degree. So basically, it was like 1 year in high school, and then I think it was a year and a half or 2 years at Manor to get your associate's degree. And I thought it was a great opportunity for me to take some college level classes while still in high school and get that whole experience. And I thought that would be a good way for me to really understand if that's the path I wanted to take with my career. So decided to run with it, love the program, and here we are today.
Excellent. Well, I've got a quick question about this career path. You said you always were interested in technology. Could you explain to us a little bit how that came to be? Like, what was it about you and technology that seemed to jive? Because you are definitely in the pinnacle of that technological world. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I would say like I was always that kid that just was always playing with like computers and gadgets and reading blogs and magazines and was always just interested in emerging technologies. Like, back in my day, and this is really showing my age, I'm getting up there in age, when it was dial-up internet back at your parents' house, I used to be the guy that would literally like unplug the phone when my parents were upstairs and plug in the Ethernet cable to get internet to work. And I was just always that kind of guy where I was very interested in the internet and where that was going in its early stages and social media, MySpace, Facebook days back in the day when you needed just a college email to get on Facebook, et cetera. So I was just always someone that just was really intrigued by technology and evolution, how it's evolving, how it's going to change and automate things in the future. And that's something I always wanted to kind of be a part of.
That's great. And that's so cool. I think it's so neat how you started what we call as a dual enrollment student. So we still have dual enrollment programs today where students can take Manor classes in high school and it gets credits for them. We have 5 or 6 different high school partners. And I think it's so great that was your pathway. And that's kind of what we hope for. Students are going to do that. And I love just hearing your testimony, how like that was you and how you went there. So tell us, what was your Manor experience like? What was it like being on campus, taking classes? Were you involved in any activities or do any like extracurriculars when you were a student?
Yeah, I attempted to make the basketball team, didn't make it, unfortunately. I wish Manor had a lacrosse team back then.
Oh,
Anyways, yeah,
me
so
too.
yeah, so I basically was part of the IT department. So I was Paul Van Ryn. Shout out to Paul Van Ryn. He's definitely very important to me in my career over the years, since he's kind of the one that kind of showed me the ways.
Hmm.
I was basically his assistant for my whole career at Microsoft. So I used to sit in the office, that little office on
Yep.
the second floor, and we used to just go around the campus fixing things,
Hmm.
fixing computers, doing updates, doing patches. I learned a ton from him. I think in IT and computers, your natural path always seems to be like support is always step one. You like learning just how to do basic support.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what I did. So I used to, and that's how I met everybody. That's how I met a lot of the faculty and staff, was just by going to their computers and fixing their stuff or updating. And I made a lot of really strong relationships through just, doing that kind of stuff. And that's definitely helped me with feeling motivated, feeling accepted, feeling welcomed within the community. And I think all that plays a part in, you want it to be successful because people are, on your side and rooting for you. So.
Great. You went from Manor to University of Southern Florida?
USF. Yep. Yep.
And so give us a sense of, you gave us already a little sense of your time at Manor, but how did it prepare you for that school, for the transition?
Yeah, I mean, I think like I would always tell everybody, like I'm a huge proponent of going to either a JUCO or something before you get to a four-year school, especially if you're still not 100% positive on the direction you want your career to go in. For me, like having that foundation from Manor allowed me to really hit the ground running when I went to USF and know what I wanted to be in, which was information systems. So I knew the career path I wanted to take. And just kind of being part of a community and a college, it's a smaller school. USF's like one of the top 10 attended schools, I think, in the country. So it was a little bit of a culture shock going from Manor to USF, but
I can imagine.
Yeah, but at the same time, having that experience of being part of a community and college level classes and what's the expectations. And, I think the one thing that's great for Manor that I always loved was that you always had that one-on-one relationship with the teacher where, I was a huge proponent of like staying after class and asking questions or, getting advice. And I think when you go to bigger schools, it's tougher to do that because you're waiting in a line of 30 people after class to ask a question. You know what I mean? So those are some things that I would say prepared me, but also some advantages of being part of a community like that before going to a four-year school.
Great.
Yeah, that's great. And we love hearing any alumni who talk about like how Manor was that great one-on-one and they got that personal experience. And we're really proud of that. We still have that today. Our student faculty ratio is about 12-1. So students absolutely do not need to wait in a line to talk to professors. Professors are really accessible and really anyone on campus, whether you're a professor, you're a staff. Paul Van Ryan, he was a staff member, director of IT, and you were essentially like his intern, which we still have that today as well. We still have IT. I know they have an intern right now named Muhammad, and he's doing the same thing, going around meeting all of us because we need him to fix our computers. So it's really a symbiotic relationship, and I think that's really cool. So tell us, Joe, how did you navigate like your first job after graduation? Right now, we're in the middle of April. Students are about a month away from graduating. We're graduating about 100 students this year, and a lot of them are applying for jobs or they're thinking about applying for jobs. And I think it's always good to hear like those first job stories. How did that go for you?
Yeah, my one piece of advice to anybody is you have to get an internship, in my opinion, while you're in school. I mean, I can't stress enough. That's my number one piece of advice: is get an internship in the direction you want to go in with your career while you're at Manor, because you first off build those relationships, you build those soft skills. One thing that was tough for me when I first got into the job market out of college was, I'm going to be completely honest, I wasn't the most mature person in the world. I remember my first job, funny story. I worked for an EMR company and I was their like tech support. I'll never forget this. I called a doctor bro on the first call. Yeah.
Very casual.
Yeah.
Very casual.
You were used to faculty at Manor and you were like, hey, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
don't call people bro in the workplace.
Don't call people bro in the workplace. But yeah, I remember my manager coming, like pulling me off and like kind of laughing, like, you can't call a doctor bro. And I was just like, the point is that like you got to build those skills. Like it's tough to come out of a normal casual environment and then like go run to the workplace and act like you're the most mature person in the world and know how to talk to other leaders and executives and all that. So that's why I'm a huge proponent of internships and whatnot. But if you don't have that, I would say there's a lot of good opportunities for introductory jobs. I feel like nowadays, and it was maybe when I was getting out of school, there's a lot that are looking for young talent and programs for people that just graduated. Microsoft itself has some programs like that. So, I would definitely highly recommend doing those if you can, even if you don't come out of the gate making the money you want or getting the hours you want. That's the whole process.
That's great.
So no, looking for internships, definitely something we still promote here. We have a career center, and we try to help folks with their resumes, help folks, try to get people to get out there in the world a little bit. And it sounds like you had a little bit of that here when you were working with the with the IT department. So any other, I guess, advice you would give to aspiring, even not just IT, but in any field, students that are looking to, to advance?
Yeah, first off, make sure you have a tight resume. I mean, I think in today's day and age, ChatGPT, use that, right? Use AI as much as possible to help with your resume building, but be very specific in what you want to do and go for it. Like sometimes people cast such a wide net. And the problem with that is that when you look at, people that are interviewing like myself and whatnot, if you're one of those people that apply to 75 jobs, 75 different titles, like it doesn't really resonate. It doesn't show that you are, passionate about the area that you're going. And so I would say, like, instead of casting a wide umbrella, which is necessary, sometimes be very like specific on the area you want to go in. Like, so, if you're liberal arts, pick something in that you think specifically would be a good fit for you because of your certain skills and passions, and go all in for that. Because if you're more specific in what it is that you want to accomplish or achieve, I think that resonates more with your hiring managers and whatnot, because it shows that you're passionate about that area. And when you show passion in that area, I think that resonates with interviewers and whatnot.
Great advice. We
Yeah,
definitely try to direct students that way when we're doing the resumes with them. So it makes sense.
That's great. So Joe, tell us what is your role at Microsoft, and kind of what does a role look like that you're doing? And how did you kind of find your way in the position that you are now?
It's been quite the journey, 13 years here at Microsoft. But I'm lucky and blessed to be a director here at Microsoft for customer success in our healthcare business. So basically, I have a team of, used to be 13, but now it's 20 folks. That basically our main responsibility is to get hospitals basically to deploy Microsoft Teams and utilize their investment in Microsoft. So our whole primary goal and purpose of our team is just for these hospitals to leverage their investment to the maximum possible. And it was a long journey. And, I think there's a lot of learnings to take out of the journey. I think for me, when I first started at Microsoft 13 years ago, I was lucky to come out of the college program. So there was a program back in college called the mock program, Microsoft College Academy or something like that. It's called Aspire, ironically. So basically, it's for anyone who just graduated. I think it's within 2 years. It could be either graduate degree or bachelor's degree. And I'll tell you guys a funny story. I always tell this story, but people always ask, like, how did you get into Microsoft and whatnot, right? And I said, the whole story was that it was one Saturday. They were holding a recruiting event at USF. It was a Saturday morning at like 9 a.m. So you can imagine as a college kid what's
perfect for a college kid, right?
Yeah. So we had hosted a little gathering at our apartment the night before, and I'll never forget, my buddy was sleeping on my air mattress on the floor, and I like rolled over to him and I was like, Microsoft's doing this event, like, do you think I should go? And he's like, dude, just go. I was like, all right, I'll go. So I basically got ready real quick, showed up late, and I walked in to the room, and there was like, I don't know, 100, 200 people in there. And I was like instantly turned off. I'm like, I'm never gonna, and there was one recruiter. It was like 200 people, one full room. I was like, I'm never gonna be able to talk to this person, right? Because I was like, oh, I'm gonna talk to them, I'm gonna woo them, I'm gonna, show them that I'm a great hire. So basically went to the event ended, a line queued up of like 70 people. And I was like, and they all had their resumes and all that. And I was like, no way I'm waiting in this line, right? So then the next day I went home and I like got the email of the recruiter, and I basically wrote an email that said why I'm different than the 200 people that were at that event. And I wrote three paragraphs of like all the Microsoft buzzwords. I did my research on what they were looking for and what were things that they were doing to hire folks. And I wrote that email, and I was lucky enough to get an interview. They flew me to Charlotte, and here we are today. So thinking outside the box is definitely another critical piece of advice I would give folks, is you got to stand out from everybody else somehow or another, especially at a company like Microsoft.
We call it hustle here, and it sounds great. It sounds exactly.
Awesome. Yeah.
So I have a quick question. You see Bill anywhere around getting coffee or anything?
I wish.
I know he's left in 2020, right? But
yeah, he's been gone. But nah, man, I've seen him before, but it's been many years at this point.
Cool. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that is a great story, and I think what, like the beginning part of it is like you rolled over to your buddy, you're like, dude, should I do this? Yeah, man, go do it. And like you don't get you didn't succeed, you didn't talk to anyone. And then you're like, how can I fix this? I'll send an email and I'll make myself different. That is really just so encouraging to hear. Thank you for sharing that with us. I think our students will 1,000% resonate with that. And it's great advice. It's great advice. You know,
It is.
what makes you you? What makes you unique? And it sounded like you have some confidence and you were like, you know what? I'm unique. I'm better. And here we go. I'm gonna use it. And here you are, 13 years later. That's awesome. So I have a technology question for you, Joe. What are some
Yeah.
of the technologies that you're really looking forward to, or I don't know, or seeing that's like the next thing, the next like wave of technology to come out?
Obviously AI. I mean, AI is going to change everything in the future. I mean, just Chat GPT, shout Chat GPT. That's something that Microsoft's invested heavily in. I
Mm-hmm.
use it. I use it like 3 times a day, frankly.
Mm,
I think it's going to disrupt a lot of industries. Maybe for the worse in some
mm,
instances, because people might lose jobs due
right,
to
right.
smart. But
Mm-hmm.
like we just announced a integration with Epic, who's the number one EMR company in the world, I think, in the United States at least, where we're going to be able to have Chat GPT within like patient records and whatnot. Like
Mm,
so insane stuff. Like if you play with this on a daily basis and just see the power of it. I mean, I just saw an AI generated Drake song the other day that just
oh
came out.
wow.
Yeah, like every industry is going to be disrupted by AI. I think there's going to be some awesome stories in healthcare
Mm-hmm.
specifically where I think AI is going to help because you're not digging through 10, 20, 30 websites to find your information. It's literally given to you based off of, millions of pieces of data that's already been analyzed. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm all in on the AI train. I think these next 5, 10 years are going to be like insane. I just saw a headshot generator in AI where you can just upload photos dressed like this and they'll put you on people that look like you that are professional headshots, for example. So there's so
Wow.
much right now. I think AI is going to change everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. And actually, I know later this week I'm in a meeting talking about Chat GPT and what we should be doing about academic,
Yeah.
like students trying to cheat and
Yeah.
use Chat GPT to write papers for them. So I know here in higher ed we need to think about those things to protect our students, but also like how can we use it to help our students. So it's crazy times we're living in, but I think it's exciting as well.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for talking to us today. I really appreciate your time, and I think you've had such great advice for our students. I hope that they really take it and listen and have some of that hustle that you have, and some of that sounds like some of that grit that we also have. I think that's a very Philadelphia thing where people just, you work hard and you're proud of that, and that's okay. And we want to honor that. Thank you all for watching this episode of our virtual alumni engagement series, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks, Joe. Have a good one.
Thank you, Joe.
Appreciate you.